Hello and welcome to this week's live streaming question show. I don't know what we're calling this. It needs a name. We need to name this. You know, everyone's got a name. I don't have a name. Good morning. I'm seeing Home Rapid Repair. How are you going? It is 9 a.m. Monday morning here for me in Australia and Queensland. Different places in Australia, like the US, have different time zones. But it is 9 a.m. for me. Frankie over 50, great to see you. 7 a.m. where you are. Thank you for joining me. Hope you have coffee in hand if you are a coffee drinker. The mysterious unsubscribing has affected... Well, Michael, you need to resubscribe. I don't understand what's going on there. And you know what? You're not alone. The question came up somewhere else with somebody else asking the question. So, I don't know. I can honestly say it hasn't affected my unsubscribe numbers, if that makes any sense, because this weekend I've been doing some stuff, so I've been watching my channel and the subs have stayed the same. So unless people have joined and I didn't know. Oh, lots of coffee. Yes. This is a question that is close to my own heart. Like, those of you that know me know that I'm all about that moderating. So asking the question of, do you actually need a moderator to go live, is a tough one, because the short answer is no, you don't. You don't need a moderator to go live. You can go live by yourself right now. No moderators, nothing. You can absolutely go live without a moderator. Unless you're practicing and unless you are, double checking, something in the back end, whatever, and you're only going to be on for a few minutes, I have no problems there. But for me, I see moderators as kind of like a safety net, right? And so I like to have a safety net. I like to have somebody in the chat with a wrench who's got my back, and that's how I kind of think about it. So do I need a moderator to go live? No, I don't. And as of right this minute, I don't believe I have one. But do I recommend you have a moderator when you go live? Yes, I do. And I want to go into some details about why I think you should have a moderator, but also why I think you need to be careful about who you choose. No moderator is better than a bad moderator, honestly. I'm just seeing here, you could call this chat with Chantelle. I could, but I know I saw the typo too. Yeah, but I was just like, oh man, no, it's staying. It's me. I make typos. I do it all the time. You should see the messages I send to my family, like just instant messages like, can you pick up the milk? And they're like, what am I doing? What now? And then I reread it and I'm like, well, that's not English. Because I'm just like, send, and I don't even check it. Like, so when I'm going to publish something, I usually check it. When I just dropping a text message or something like that, I'm like, whatever, they can work it out. Yeah, so the moderator is just it's one of those things. I'm just going to have a look at this one here. I just finished up the 4th weekly in my live stream experience and tech problem again. However, actually had some eyeballs watching this week. What was your tech problem, Home Rapid Repair? Has it been the same tech problem every time? I'm very curious to know. So, the advantages of having a good moderator. Now, I'm talking about a good moderator here, okay? And there are such things as bad moderators. So, a good moderator can help you out in your chat. So whether or not you have a busy chat or a slow chat, even if the moderator is the only set of eyeballs while you're recording your live stream, you know that you are connecting with one person. And connecting with one person, connecting with them or connecting with you, as the case may be, that's the goal of a live stream. So my goal is to connect with you so that you know I'm talking to you. If you have no eyeballs in the chat, if you're over here looking and there's 0 eyes, you're like, la 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 la, you may struggle a little more to try and make that connection. But knowing that there is someone there, someone listening, even if it's just one someone, that makes it easier for you to concentrate harder and to actually drop the knowledge. When you have got nobody, it's kind of like doing a pre-recorded video where you know you can take multiple takes. No one's going to see it. Whatever, I'll edit it out. The same thing can happen on a live stream when you've got no eyes on it. You just go, oh, and go again. You don't think you need to put yourself in like a live streaming seat, if that makes sense. One of the Elgato webcams went to black screen. I think I should just uninstall them and start again from scratch. So are you using the Elgato face cams? And how many are you using? One of. And which computer are you using? And are you running additional software? And are you using StreamYard or something else? Lots of questions for you. Oh, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. So having that one set of eyeballs can really help you to focus. And knowing that someone is listening, it can just make you feel a little bit different about your live stream. Does that make sense? The other thing that a good moderator can do is actually encourage people in the chat. So if you have got either a new audience or an audience of people who don't really understand how to chat, and believe me, it happens. I was running a live stream and we had 600 people watching and no one was talking. And I sent a quick DM to the Fiberific mods and I said, if you jump over into this chat, I'll mod you. And the Fiberific mods jumped over, or a couple of them did, and just they started conversing with each other. And then other people were like, how did you do that? And they showed people how to chat in the chat. The chat started rolling then. You know, so sometimes having a moderator start a conversation can also be really beneficial. So that, and they can encourage people to ask their questions. They can actually even just be encouraging generally in the chat. They can answer a question. Hope someone has a great day. Say hi to people as they come in. Just be welcoming, like the welcoming committee. So there's a lot of jobs that mods can do that aren't just the usual things that you think of when you... Who here in the chat thinks of mods as like the policeman of a chat? Let me know while I have a look here. Yes, 2 face cams, StreamYard, a modern fast computer, Pro Plan to allow the second camera. Okay. All right. Have you updated your face cams to make sure that they are running their current firmware? So I will get to your question very, very soon, Michael Sahovsky. It's a great question. Okay, so that's some of the jobs that mods can do. Now, yes, absolutely, moderators can remove comments. They can time people out. YouTube now allows moderators on their mobile phones to time out for different amounts of time. So instead of the standard 300 seconds or 5 minutes, they can go anywhere from, I think, like 5 seconds all the way up to 24 hours. So you can time them out so that they can't comment at all in that live stream for the entire day, if that's what you want to do. So they've got this ability as well. And then they can also actually hide users from channels. So it is definitely, you know, they do have some powers. Now, some people truly believe that mods only have these abilities during a live stream. And that's not true. Now, they have much less ability, but if you're a moderator on a channel, you can remove comments from the comment areas of VODs and shorts as well. You can't boot out and you can't time out, but you can absolutely remove comments from channels that you moderate on. And this is why you need to trust your moderator. A moderator can 100% change the tone of a live chat or a comment area by what it removes and allows. But by what they remove and allow. Home rapid repair. I honestly would not be using the audio off any webcam. Personally, I would be making sure that you have even a $15 Boya BYM1 lav mic plugged in to your 3.5mm jack. It's like a $15 lav mic. They're not, top of the line, but they're pretty damn good, especially for $15. If you don't know what that is, go and check out my tools page, and there's a link there for one. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend using the inbuilt microphones on, well, anything except for microphones. Camera microphones are bad, laptop microphones are bad. I would definitely recommend just grabbing a little microphone as well. So that way, if this sort of thing happens, you don't lose your audio. It doesn't matter which camera you've got, because you've got your audio. Yeah, and definitely check your firmware. Of course, mods are the streaming police. They kind of are, but that's not all they are. That's not all they are. So having a good mod can totally change everything. So you can go from a mod who's in your chat being encouraging, being kind, being super helpful, to another mod who's just stomping around, removing comments, talking or messaging aggressively within the chat, and you have to make these decisions. So I do think that training your moderators is important. Now, I don't always train all of my moderators, because some of the moderators, especially the ones I have on this channel, they know how to moderate. They're professional guys and they know what they're doing. Leanne, who also moderates on this channel, she's one of my Fiberific moderators. She's done all the training over there. So, they're either experienced live streamers or moderators. If somebody comes into my chat whose name I've never seen before, waving their hand around going, "Hi, I'm a great moderator, you should mod me up," that's a hard no from me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to trust you with my community. I don't know you. It's that simple. I don't know you. I have no way to see how you speak in my chat, because you've never been here before. I don't know how you would utilize the power of booting people out of the chat, because you've never been here before. There's no trust. And I very rarely, and I'm not saying I don't do it, but I very rarely mod someone during a live stream. I might take down someone's name and do it later, unless I'm in like a dire situation and there's trolls going mad and I'm like, "Hey, can one of the regulars put your hand up if you want to mod temporarily or even permanently just to get rid of this?" Very rare, but I will do it if I need to. Are moderators good for premier events or just for live streams? Moderators are good for premier events, absolutely. Moderators are good for lives, premier events, having someone on your channel to remove bad comments. We all know that there's those, the WhatsApp commenters and those people like, "Hey, that's a great question. Just message me over here and or I'm such and such's business partner," or, PR manager or whatever. "You message me over here and I'll get you on a call with such and such a person." And they're all scams. All of them. They're all scams. So having a moderator come in and every now and again just check the comments, just to remove those sorts of ones as well, that's a great way, especially if it's someone you really trust. So, Hey, Jerry, great to see you. Thanks for joining. So, moderators have powers. So what can a bad moderator do? A bad moderator can change the tone of your live chat. They can just make things bad. They can remove really good questions and make people feel like they can't ask a question. They can reply to people with snark, and because they have the moderator, moniker, they've got their blue and they've got their little wrench. They've got a symbol of approval from the streamer. So is that how the streamer would have talked to them if the streamer doesn't get their message straight away? These people kind of speak for you in a way, or they're speaking to your audience and they're speaking to your community. So if you are willing to just let any Tom, Dick and Harry come in and stomp around and crush the hearts and souls of your community members, sure, mod anyone up. Modern media first of all, Ernesto, welcome, thank you. Modern Media Maker says, should you mod someone up without letting them know first, or is it courtesy to ask? It's totally up to you, really. I personally prefer to ask, but that's a personal thing for me. I would like to give people the opportunity to say no, and so they're not surprised when they turn up to a chat and go, oh, wait, I've got a wrench, I'm blue. Because some people actually find that a little stressful. So I try not to upset people. I'm that person. I don't want to upset anyone, really. I mean, I do, but I don't really want to. So it's 100% up to you. And it could be as simple as, hey, Modern Media Makers, can I make you a mod? And you can say yes or no in the chat, you know. Not that I don't need any right now, I'm just saying. But it doesn't have to be like a formal request or anything like that. I have some online communities that I work in that for different groups, and I would probably ask over there, hey, somebody who is active in the community, who is reliable for a live stream, and make sure that you're live streaming at a time that they can turn up. Like, I know right now, if Doug is listening, he'll be either at work or on his way to work. He can't focus here, and I know that because it's Monday morning and it is work o'clock time here in Australia. So, and I know that in the US, this is an awkward time zone I've chosen to test out in. So my usual mods are a little like, oh, I don't know if I can do that one. So, I feel a little naked without a mod in the chat. I'm just checking to see if there's actually any here. No, there's none. So I'm kind of keeping an additional eye in the chat just to make sure, like, you guys are all great, but just in case somebody comes in just to troll us or whatever, I'm keeping a little eye on that. So hang on a second. I'm using an XLR mic. StreamYard connects the audio with one cam only, so if you remove that cam source, you lose the audio without realizing it. If I've got two camera sources running and I don't know, I don't actually use two camera sources in StreamYard. But I thought that this is my question. Are you removing it from the stream? Oh, you might be right, actually. I'm not sure. I'd need to have a test of that, but I thought that you could actually, what I would do is click, I'm going to test something here and you guys need to tell me if you can still hear me, is I would click stop cam. I wouldn't remove from the chat straight away. I would click stop cam and hopefully you can still hear me even though I've clicked stop camera. I think you can, the little light's pulsating. And then sort of do anything that you need to do in the background and switch anything over. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you do lose it. It's Sunday evening. Yeah, I think I'm just struggling to work out if it's like 5 or 9 or 11. I don't know what time it is over there. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at that one, Home Rapid Repair, and see what happens. I'll do some testing this week and I'll come back to you about solutions. But sometimes stuff just happens, right? And you do lose everything. And that's one of the advantages of StreamYard, is even if you do lose everything, you've still got your chat. So you can just pop in the chat, hey, technical glitch, I'll be back as soon as possible. And then it's absolutely then you can do what you need to do. The stream stays open. So as long as you don't close the stream, like don't end the stream, you can fix everything up and then come back in and start and add people back to the stream or add cameras back to the stream and go from there. You are right, I don't have I'm not monetized on this channel as yet, although Australia was added to the list this week finally of channels that can apply for fan funding when they reach the levels, which is still a ways off for me. I was going to say in the description below, I'm just going to check something here before I say it. There's a link for Buy Me a Coffee. If you really want to, you can do it from there. Yes, we finally we exist. Yes, I know. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It's like, really? So my stream goes live at 7 p.m. But in your time zone in the US, Michael, that's what I'm assuming. That's your time, like, because you're Eastern, right? Is that right? But then there's also Mountain Time and Pacific Time, so it's different times for the others. Are there only the 3 time zones for the US? I don't know. I know we've got 3 in Australia. During daylight savings, we have 4. Because while I am considered Eastern Australia in time zones, it is we don't do daylight savings here. We feel we have enough. I'm okay with it personally. Oh, 5 if you count Hawaii. Good point. I forgot about Hawaii. They would most definitely have a different time zone. Okay. So, do we have any more questions about live streaming? So, not live streaming, sorry, moderators. About moderators, because it's a tough one. It's a tough one because there's some people who will happily stream and just let the chat turn into a dumpster fire of doom, never having a moderator. I've seen chats where the trolls are just mental, and the scam accounts and the porn bot accounts and all that. They're just they're getting around the block words lists so they're not writing anything dodgy. They're like, hi, but their channel name is really tacky and things like that. So and you can add, like, if they've got like a bizarre channel name that is not just the standardly used word, you can actually add that to the block words list as well to really help out. And that's something that managing moderators can actually do. So there's 2 levels of moderators. There's the standard moderator, which is what I've been discussing mostly today. But then there's a managing moderator. Now, if you do not know somebody, do not ever make them a managing moderator. They can actually 100% change how things look in the stream. Speaking of moderators, we've got Leanne. Hello, it's so good to see you, Leanne. I hope your morning went well. So managing moderators have some additional tools. Now, I do have an entire video on the channel about the new tools that managing moderators have. Now, one of the downsides is right now YouTube somehow thinks that moderators or professional moderators have both their computer open and their phone at the same time. And I've had to start doing that on channels I'm a managing moderator of because I don't have access to the managing moderator tools on a desktop. So if I want to make it a subscriber only stream, if the streamer has asked for it to be turned to subscriber only mode or members only or something like that, managing moderators can do that. We can slow the chat down. There's a whole pile of things that we can actually do. Now, I've just realized my dog is digging in his water bowl and he's not going to stop until someone puts water in it. So bear with me while I run away and sort him out. Do you know how I wrote a note last week to, hey, give yourself a be right back screen, and I looked at some and I never installed one. I'll be back. Please bear with. Louie, what are you doing? I'm back. Yeah, he doesn't stop. He just sits there digging like, la la la, somebody, there's no water in here. And he just lays next to it digging. Okay. What are the 3 core things you think a new mod needs to consider when making a decision on whether to remove comments or put someone in the sin bin or ban? Okay, so they do. The moderators have the ability to hide user from channel, which means that that user can still watch things, but when they go to comment, they can hit send and nothing appears on the screen. They can scream into the void. I actually quite like doing that to people that are being mean. Sorry, I moved a little quicker than I should have. So, okay. The first thing is you need to understand what is okay by the streamer. Some streamers are fine with caps lock, over emoji, like snark, whatever. It all comes down to what does the streamer like. And I have a list, like my moderators know what I do and don't like. I also have rules in the chat. So if you aren't sure what I like and what I consider acceptable behavior in a live stream, check in the description. There is a list of chat rules in there. So basically maintaining those chat rules. So if somebody comes in, like for me personally, I don't like caps lock. Like, you know what, sometimes someone accidentally leaves caps lock on and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, hey, check your caps lock. It looks like you've got it locked on. And if they come back with some sort of rude or snark, I remove those comments. They're removed. Now, depending on the content of the comments, some of the comments get removed. If a commenter is rude to the moderator, they are kicked out. They're banned. As far as I'm concerned, being rude to a moderator in my chat is the equivalent of being rude to me. So, bye. And having a difference of opinion is not being rude, but being, like, you guys know what it's like when someone is actually, like, aggressively rude to you. So, you know, I've had someone tell me to F off in the chat. Like, I'm not talking to you, F off. And it's just like, oh, mate, sorry, bye. You know, I smile now, but when it happens, I'm not smiling. I'm like, I'm just trying to help. So you need to make sure your moderators are aware of the things that you do and don't like, and they can absolutely make all of those decisions that you've got there. When it comes to removing comments, the things that I would consider are the comments mean-spirited? Are they is it a question? Like, are they actually stuck on something? And are they just frustrated and they need help? Like, reading the comment and deciding from then, because we all know sometimes reading doesn't give us the tone of what it was written as. Like, how many of us here have read an email and been like, oh my gosh, how rude are you? Only to realize that you could also read it as they're frustrated or they're upset about something else and it's just come through in the email to you. Like, tone is really hard in a written word. So I tend to give benefit of the doubt unless it continues, and then I remove a comment. And then usually you can tell someone's intention by their reaction when you've removed their comment. And if they're really aggressive and rude, then they get timed out. Now, it's not often I go straight from a look at the comment and ban them. That usually comes down to a really inappropriate channel name, like really inappropriate. Their comment was just horrid or cruel or mean. That can also just be banned. If I am, like right now, I'm streaming here on StreamYard. If someone came in and was just dissing all over StreamYard for no apparent reason, like sure, we have technical problems and stuff every now and again. But if someone came in and was just spewing vitriol about StreamYard, I'd be like, dude, no. And I would remove them because that says more about their character as well. So, it is just, you know, one of those sort of things. Sometimes it comes down to a feeling, and I hate saying that because I'd love to give you just like, they've got to do this, 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 and this. This is the clear dichotomous tree of, are they blocked? Are they, you know, there's not a clear path. It depends on you as the streamer of what you allow. But set some ground rules and it makes it a lot easier. If the moderators know what you do and don't like and what you do and don't allow, it makes their life easier to make these decisions on the fly, because sometimes a moderator needs to move swiftly as well. I don't know if that answered your question. Please let me know if you feel like I answered your question. I found the moderator section in my YouTube channel settings. Is it customary to get mods permission before just adding people to the box? I would. It's a personal preference. You can totally just add them in and they won't know until they come into a live stream and they've got a wrench. They don't get notified in any way that they've been modded up until they're in the chat. So it's your call. I personally, I would ask them. I also have a Facebook Messenger group for my moderators so that they can talk to each other during a live or something like that. So if something happens, they can ask each other questions as well. So the newer mods can talk to the older mods. And, you know, they can also double check, is someone going to be around for the live today? Because I'm not going to be there, you know. So it is definitely I highly recommend in some way having a place. It doesn't have to be a Facebook Messenger group. It could be a Discord group. It could be something, somewhere private where just you and the mods can chat openly about what is and isn't acceptable. I also create a document, like just a Google Doc, that's got all my acceptable links. So if I talk about something, they've got an affiliate link for it. I also sometimes I'll put notes in there about, you know, I'm going to be talking about this, so watch out for the spam bots today, or, you know, things like that. So these things are also there. I'm a moderator for some people where there's no communication whatsoever. And that also, that can work. It can work. But I personally find I like to be able to encourage my moderators, because quite often your moderators are volunteers. Sometimes you can pay people to moderate for you, and depending on the caliber of moderator you want, if you're hosting a special event, you want top tier moderators who work fast and can make decisions on their feet, then you might need to hire someone in. You definitely need to be communicating with them. And one of the services I actually provide is training people's moderators for them, and or training someone how to train their moderators. So, you know, there's all these things that you can do to really, really dive in deep, especially more so if you've got like a group of moderators and you're hosting a big event, rather than just a small stream like this one, where it feels like it's a bunch of mates, and I feel like I'm preaching to the choir right now. But yeah, great answers. I'm glad that helped also. With large streamers, is it fair to ask if they compensate you for your time as a mod, or are there enough other benefits? This is a tough one, and usually if a large streamer contacts you to ask you to be a mod, they'll let you know if it's a paid gig, but 95% of the time moderating is volunteering. Sometimes there's perks and benefits, sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's just the ability to be able to chat with that person every now and again without them like blocking you or whatever if they're a larger streamer. But usually I have found that unless someone comes to you asking to hire you as a moderator, it's usually an unpaid thing. And I have mixed feelings about it. I really do, because I think sometimes if you're a member of a community and you really want that community to be great, you'll do it for free and you'll help out, like, you know, I do with Nick Nimmin and other places that I moderate for. A lot of them I don't get paid. I do it because I'm there to help and support the community, and I get my benefit from that. And like, I know some of you guys know me from Nick Nimmin's stream, so I feel like I've created relationships with some of you from there, you know. So it's one of those things, like, it's a tough question, and you have to be prepared that they'll say no, and they may actually consider not making you a moderator or removing you as a moderator. So you have to make the decision, do you need to be paid to have that time there or not? I know I don't actually pay most of my mods, but I do try to make special time for them. And I do try to, you know, put together little gifts every now and again. John, it's so good to see you today. I'm a moderator for Daryl, and I haven't had to ban anyone yet. I'm sad. Really? Because I've been in some of Daryl's chats sometimes, and I look at it, and I'm like, oh my God. But then it depends on what the ruling is down from Daryl and Daryl's team. Like, maybe they are okay with the different conversations that I see happening. I'll just be like, hammer, 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 hammer. Some people are really rude. Well, I mean, my dog would be a really bad moderator because A, he doesn't have an opposable thumb, can't type, and B, he's like super friendly and would just lick the screen all the time, and I'd be constantly needing new monitors. And C, he doesn't actually have his own YouTube account, so he can't moderate. But absolutely, this is the other thing. If you are not paying your moderators, you can't get grumpy if they're not there. Like 100%. If someone can't make it, or they don't even tell you that they can't, they're not paid staff. They don't need to tell you they're not coming. So, like, that's the thing. Like, if you aren't willing to pay someone to moderate for you, don't expect them to be there every time with bells on. Now, I am exceptionally lucky that there is always someone available over on Fiberific. In saying that, I have a pile of mods over there. And I tend to do that. If I have, like, I don't have one moderator on this channel, I have 5. And so even though it's a tiny channel, hopefully someone can make it. If they can't, whatever. But hopefully one person can make it. Last week we had 3. This week we've got 1. You know, this is the downside. If you don't pay a moderator to be there, don't expect them to be there every single week. Absolutely. As a moderator, I'm so honored to assist as best I can. I also never stop learning in this role as well. Oh, absolutely, Anne. You have come leaps and bounds by learning how to do different things and different skills as a moderator and understanding YouTube better. And it's really, really good. It must not be in the ones I'm moderating or I missed it. It's usually the, and I normally catch the ones where in the lead up to Vid Summit when he's giving away a free ticket and people are just really swirly in the chat because they want the free ticket and they get a little bit aggressive. And that's a thing that bothers me. I don't like aggression. So that could be a thing. Michael Sahovsky says, I met you on Doug Hewson's channel. Oh, there you go. How do you pay your moderators? Well, like I said, I actually personally don't at this stage. I'm not in a position to. Once I'm in a position to, I will, for sure. But you would need to discuss that with the individual. There's lots of ways you can pay people, like either via PayPal, Stripe. If you're in the same country, it could be a direct bank transfer. You've got lots of ways to be able to pay them, and you would need to definitely have that discussion with the individual person. And if you have a particular way you prefer to pay, like say you have other subcontractors that all get paid through PayPal, and you don't want to be having to bring on an extra way to pay people, then I would probably say, hey, you need a PayPal account, or you need a Stripe account, or you need something to be able to do this. For me personally, I think PayPal is a great one. Like, sure, they take some fees, like they take a lot of fees, especially on internationals. But it's easy and most people have it already. Would the saying, the bigger the streamer, the harder the modding gets, be an accurate statement, or does it vary from stream to stream? I'd say it's like 90% accurate. Absolutely. I would definitely say that. Because the faster the chat moves, the faster you have to be able to see a comment, analyze it, and make a decision. And sometimes you've got a split second, like, you know. And I was in a StreamYard chat modding for a Daniel and Dee show, and we have all these rules, like there's no sub for sub, there's no asking for subscribers, and all of a sudden, because I watch the chat, I don't watch the screen of the performance as such. I focus in on the chat. What I didn't realize is that the next word for the turn on the giveaway wheel, they'd chosen subscribe, and that meant that every time someone commented, it went into because it subscribes a blocked word on that channel, so a moderator had to review it, and we were just hiding people from the channel. I hid 5 people in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds, and realized, hang on a second, everyone's saying subscribe. Wait, what's going on? So I grabbed a screenshot. I was able to unhide a couple of people, but you only have a short amount of time before you can undo something like that. So I then had to go and get one of the channel managers to go and unhide these people that I'd hidden, and they couldn't do it during the stream, so these people missed out because of something that I did. And it was a total screw up on my part, because I watch the chat, I don't watch the screen, and it flashed up on the screen and they hadn't said it. Not yet anyway, they'll normally say it a bit later, but yeah, I was just I felt really bad, and it was my first mod for that stream, and so I was like, oh my god, I feel so terrible, I feel sick. But I'm screenshot and sent it, hey, I've just hidden all these people and they don't deserve to be hidden. So it can be hard, it can be trickier than others. Some chats move so fast it's near impossible to mod. And some streamers don't like slow mode. So I personally think if you've got a super fast chat, to pop it into slow mode so people can only comment once every, I think it's every 30 seconds. And it just makes it so that more people have a chance to comment as you go through. And it helps. There's no variable speed. That would be really nice on some of the really fast chats. But yeah, sometimes the chats just move so fast. I've seen one, not that I modded it, but I saw one that I was watching on, I think it was like a Philip DeFranco live, and the actual chat screen was a blur. Like it was, there was no way anyone could moderate it. You couldn't see the comments, like literally. Hey, look, you know what? I have sent my mods for Fiberific Yarn before. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's an important lesson, though, that you can make mistakes. Oh, 100%. Moderators are not infallible. We're still human people. 100% we can make mistakes. And any sort of decisions that I've had to make on the fly where I'm not 100%, but I've erred on the side of either hide the user or time them out for a longer period of time, I'll actually screenshot it and I will send it to the streamer after the stream and talk to them about it. Be like, hey, look, I did this. If you don't agree, you can unhide them. This is their username. You can find them and unhide them. Whereas, you know, I think it's really important to not be afraid to also say, hey, I did this thing. You know, and I think that's part of being a good, not just moderator, but a good worker for somebody, is owning up to tasks, to things that you've done, whether or not you think you did the right thing or the wrong thing. It's like, you know, there've been times where I'm like, I think I totally did the right thing, but I'm letting you know because I also felt like the right thing I had to do was a little harsher than what we normally do on this channel. So this is what I've done. Let me know if that's okay, and then I will adjust my, you know, procedures going forward. So sometimes you can go too hard, but yeah, usually a timeout or a removed comment is all that's needed to adjust some people, or even just like an like, hey mate, you need to settle down, or you will be removed from the chat. Sometimes a warning is all someone's, because like, oh, sometimes they're kids and they'll be just really aggressively demanding like channel reviews or like, and you'll go and check their channel and they're like 6 or 7 and you're just like, oh my God, this is a little kid. So I'll be like, hey guys, this is a little kid's channel. Cause like people will be like, cause this is the thing, normally in a big group where there's a couple of mods, there's normally a few regular members that are also really keen on the chat being an encouraging and safe place. And they will see a comment like that and just be like, mate, you know, cool your jets. And so I'll be like, hey, everyone, I've just checked this channel. They're a kid. And you'll be like, hey, kid, you really need to look at how you're wording your comments. It comes across as really rude. And in this chat, we don't allow people being rude. So you need to look at how you're asking for help and be polite. And usually the kid will be like, oh, okay, sorry. You know, and this is the thing, you don't know who is on the other side of that handle. It could be someone really nice and really just frustrated and upset, or someone really young who just doesn't realize, like kids these days, like my daughter's 18 and I've actually said to her like, hey, you need to remove what you wrote off your auntie's post. And Abby's like, why? It was funny. And I'll be like, no, honey, our generation considers that to be really rude. You might think it's funny now, but she's there not happy because what you wrote. And I'll be like, oh, I meant it to be funny. Oh no. And so she'll go in and remove it. And I'll be like, you need to send her a DM and talk to her because you've upset her. Because like, I'll be told because like, you know, your daughter is rude, blah, 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 blah. You'll be like, oh geez, you've upset Arnie. And so, you know, you've got different tones and different age groups talks. Like I say, cool your jets. My daughter will be like, what the heck does that mean? You know? John will mod for Tim Tams. Oh, dude. That's... I'll just grab you a wrench. Oh, wait. No, you want... Okay, you won't. All right. Okay, cool. Cool. You'd be honored to have the awesome Chantelle Hills as a moderator. Well, once you get started, you need to send me a DM. Seriously. Like, once you get started, let me know. You are a good and true friend who turns up to everything whenever you can. I will certainly help out when I can. I may not be able to much because we are on odd time zones, but I will certainly, if I can't mod for you, I can help you mod yourself. How does that sound? My coffee is cold. It's not good. It's not a good coffee when it's cold. I'm still drinking it. It's too good to bin. Honestly, I'm not tipping it down the sink. So yeah, moderating. How moderators act and respond can actually be a direct representation of the streamer, and it actually should be a representation of the streamer, because as a moderator, you are representing the streamer. So you need to understand what the streamer does and does not allow in their chats, and make sure you're creating the tone in the chat that the streamer wants to have. It's up to you to help out with that. So, you know, it's totally up to you. And boot the bad people out. I usually can't stay for the entire stream, but I can boot people while I'm here. No need for yarn or Tim Tams. Oh, that's good to know, John. That's good to know. Thank you. I'll just write your name down here on this here list. You know, you've got good references. You mod for Daryl Eves. I can't really mod for anyone much higher on YouTube. Like, I don't mod for Daryl Eves. But yes, it's one of those things where if you're not sure, you need to, and look, different streamers have different things, right? It's going to come down to the streamer you're dealing with. But if you're modding for me and you send me a DM, I'm so not ignoring it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will answer your questions because your question is trying to help me create a more inclusive or a more fun, or clarifies a thing. I know it's not the case for every streamer, and I know it depends, but I think if you're a creator deciding whether or not to bring mods on, or deciding who to bring on as a mod, you need to be willing to speak to them off camera, off live stream. You need to be willing in some way to connect with them. And I know that is not the case for everybody. Like, I know some creators who, other than a live stream, have never once spoken to their mods, and they're not my favorite people to mod for, I'll be honest, because I sort of feel like, am I doing the right thing? I don't know. I'm just going to keep going with what I'm doing until they tell me to stop. And then if they do tell me to, like, hey, I don't like what you're doing here, you're like, oh, well, you know, I had no clear path or trajectory. You didn't exactly tell me anything. Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's important to talk to your mods. Like, you don't have to become best friends with them, although that helps. But you need to be able to converse with them, to be able to be like, hey, Leanne, I've updated the list of links so that you can, you know, help me out more. You know, like, that's the thing. Like, mods are here to help you. And if you feel like your mod is not here to help you, then you need to consider removing them as mod. And they may be grumpy about that, just so you know, especially if they've got issues already. Like, they might just be like, oh, you've unmodded me, have you? Oh, you know. I accidentally unmodded everybody on one of my channels. I was just like, come in and the people didn't have the blue wrenches, and I'm like, what's happening? Did you all quit as moderators? And they're like, no, you booted us. I'm like, what? I don't remember doing it. I have no idea how it happened. It may have even been a YouTube glitch, but I had to go and re-mod everybody up. Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you feel that. But yeah, it's one of those, it's a subjective thing. It really is subjective. And it is so hard to just make broad strokes. Yes or no, do you need a moderator? I personally think yes, everyone needs one moderator at least. Because live streaming can be hard, right? And knowing that someone in the chat has your back, like, before Leanne jumped into the chat, I was like watching the chat like carefully, because you never know when a troll's going to pop in. It's not usually the regular viewers and names you recognize, like John and Modern Media Makers and Michael and like everybody who comes in. Amazing Yacht Destinations, who has just joined us from Thailand. Hey, how you going? Yeah, it's not usually these guys that are the problem. It's normally the people you've never seen before. The first timers or you know, that have just joined your chat or just found it because they clicked live on YouTube and saw that you were live and decided to jump in. When StreamYard first brought out its like when people, I shouldn't say first brought it out, when StreamYard started getting really popular and people were like streaming with StreamYard, like I've got that I'm streaming with StreamYard in my live chat. I had people turning up to my streams demanding to be brought on screen. Well, don't write that you're streaming with StreamYard. And I'm like, but I am streaming with StreamYard. But being with StreamYard doesn't mean I want some rando as a guest. Sorry. So, you know, my mods dealt with them. And it's all about making the tone what you want it to be and making an inclusive and fun environment. And sometimes, especially if you've got like a presentation that you're doing or you're not really watching the chat all of the time. Like for me today, I do have some notes. I'm trying to make sure I hit all my notes. And I've just realized I did miss a couple of things that I like my moderators to do by looking at my notes. So I'm going to go back and do those. So some of the things that mods can do, we talked about how they can help out in the chat, how they can encourage people in the chat, how they say hello to people when they arrive. And all of these things you can talk to your moderators about. Do you want your moderator to say hi as everybody pops in? And like, I'm like, if you want to, like, go for it. You don't have to, but it's cool. People feel included if someone says hello to them, like, hi. But the other, they can answer questions. Like if you're in a chat that's quite busy and the streamer is answering questions off a form, like a bit like what Nick Nimmin does, and there's questions in the chat that haven't been put in the form, or they've been put into the chat. Who knows if they've been put into the form? But you can try and help them out by answering those questions there as a moderator if you know the answer, or if you know where you could send them to find the answer that is like something that the streamer would recommend. That's the thing that you need to keep an eye on as well, because that person may click a link and run away. Sometimes the streamer will get to questions in the chat as well, so sometimes you can just leave it and then they may get to it themselves. But one really important thing that moderators can do is, especially if your chat is moving quite a bit, like our chat today is not moving super fast, but if your chat's moving a little bit, it's very easy for you to miss something. And so a moderator can actually keep an eye on something that's maybe a little important, like a super chat or a really relevant question or an answer to like a follow-up question, like, hey, such and such has commented, and because a moderator is highlighted in the chat, it's easier to see what they've written versus what other people have written sometimes. So you know, they can highlight and draw your attention to something that's happening as well. So, you know, there's lots of advantages. What is something that you think a moderator should do for you? Like when you're thinking about having a moderator in your live chats, what is the one thing you would hope that they do? Whether we've discussed it or not already, don't worry about that. But when you're thinking of, I want to get a moderator so they can, and pop that into the chat. I would love to see what you guys would like moderators to be able to do. I actually send messages to Renee Ritchie for the Creator Liaison every now and again about moderating tools. He's probably sick of it. He does respond very kindly and very politely every time, which I love. But yeah, I'm like, hey, you know, can you make it so moderators can do this thing? Like I know he can't, but he can pass it on to people. So, yeah. Let me look here. I'm having a look. I'm just checking out what's going on in the stream. No. I'm just seeing if anyone is going to respond. Maybe not. Everyone's chilling. Sunday night for most. Early Monday morning for some. Very early for some. It's not super early for me. So, excuse me, I found that, because you guys know how we're testing out this, it's Monday morning time slot for me, but this time slot for our live streams to try and find a spot where It works for me. It works for my family, so that they're not home and I'm not like, you have to be quiet. There's no talking while I'm streaming. It's not quite that bad, but yeah, it's a little bit like that. So working for a time where my family are either out or asleep, where I'm awake, that's always a bonus. And this Monday morning is working really well for me. So let me know if this time slot's working for you as well. Modern Media Maker says, I would want to know the mod for some time first. Yes, see, this is the thing. If they are an active, avid member of your community, you have got a better chance of understanding and seeing how they write and speak to people in the community before they have power. So you don't have to know them personally, although in saying that, I know most of my mods personally, so I'm pretty lucky that way. But yes, I think you need to have known them for a little bit of time. I think they need to be regular attendees of your live stream. They need to know how you like your stream. So that's one of the things. Game Widow's hands are full. She's chopping up mandarins. Lovely. Awesome. I'm so happy my other new channel is a channel where I don't have to talk with my family dogs. It's stressful with a mic on. Yeah, it can, like, I'm sitting here knowing my daughter went out this morning and she is due back anytime. That means the dog is going to bark. So I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. Is it going to happen during the live stream? I don't know, but it's going to happen. And no matter what settings I have, he has got this great bark that the microphone picks up, and no matter what. Good morning, Holly. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. So yeah, it's definitely one of these things, like it's sorting out times that's convenient for the household, not just for yourself, can also be fun. If you're one of these people that have their own studio off, like out of their home, I used to have that, and I miss it so much because I could my studio was out in my yard, like it was away from the house enough. Do you know what I mean? Like it was enough to have that separation, so I could just go in, shut the door, stream away, no problems. Unless I remember one time I'm streaming, it's like midnight, and my office was like a demountable building, so it's like a metal thing that comes on the back of a truck kind of thing, like a side office for a construction site. But it was good, it was great, I loved it. And someone was walking around banging on the walls and I'm inside and I'm like messaging my daughter, and then I heard it was her. She thought it was hilarious. So yeah, it was totally, I'm like, she scared the life out of me, honestly, absolutely scared the life out of me. Tech for your needs, so good to see you. The shed tool as a studio, I'm not quite sure what that means. So yeah, mine was just like, I went out a side door of the house, walked about 10 steps and I was in my office. So I really liked that separation. I had an office that was more like a 5-minute drive down the road. I didn't live stream from there at night. I only did my day streams from there. So anything I did at night, I did at home anyway. I didn't want to be down in this, I mean, I could totally access it, but it was creepy at night there. I didn't want to be there by myself. If the phone rings, someone comes in and talks to me, dogs bark, it's fine since it's Shorts channel and each clip is less than 2 seconds long. No interruptions from the shot. Well, that's great. That's so good. My studio is half an hour away and I hate it. I used to have my studio in my house. I could just go and create anytime. Now I work 6 p.m. to midnight at the studio, makes for a long day. I can imagine. I would not want to have to drive half an hour to my studio. But I mean, there are also some advantages to that. There's also some advantages, and that is that there is like separation for a start. Like for me, I really miss being able to close the door, work is done for the day, and just going about home life as such. I kind of miss doing that because now this is just a bedroom in my house. like it's set up. It is at my studio. It is not usable for anything except for my work. Well, sometimes my daughter brings her laptop in here and connects it up to my monitors, but you know, it's computer work space. It's there's no spare bed or anything in here. This is not a guest space. So having that separation for work and home, it's definitely an important thing for your mental health. And also having that, you've got that time blocked, and I'm hoping you use it wisely. Because, you know, it sounds like that does make for a long day. And so, you know, you've got your content plan that you're using to create it, and you can just focus in and sit down. You don't have any interruptions. You can just get the work done, but it would make for a long day. And then that drive home afterwards, it would feel like a long drive. So let me have a look here. Oh, absolutely amazing yacht destinations. If you go back to sort of the start of the stream a bit later on, there's a bit more in there, so you can go and check that out as well. So yeah, sometimes watching a replay is, you know, what you get, what you can get. I know that there's plenty of live streams that I wish I could watch as a live stream, even on channels that I moderate, and it's just like, oh man, that live stream started at 3 a.m. my time. I like you guys, but just not that much. So a shed tool is like a barn house, meaning that it's where you put your tools. That's where we call it in the USA. Okay. All right. So we have tool sheds. I've got a little tool shed up the back corner. It's a little tiny metal thing. It's basically, let me think about how big it is. It's 6 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot. It's like a, you know, it's not a big barn. It's just a shed, metal, concrete floor. Spiders live in it. I don't go there. I actually keep my tools on a rack in the back patio, so I don't have to go to the shed, because the shed has spiders. But yeah, that's where we keep like our bigger things like lawnmowers and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So, but they're all squished in. There's no room to work on them in there. If you want to touch it, you've got to bring it out and work on it. There's no room. I know some people have bigger sheds. I have a little shed. It's basically a glorified toolbox with the door. Oh dear. Yeah. So, do you have any more moderating questions? I feel like don't even joke about it, Doug Hewson. Don't even, like, hello for a start. Good morning. Now I'm like checking. I'm looking in the background of my set. Like, is there a spider somewhere? I have a thing about spiders. I really don't like them a lot. That's right. The party can start now. Doug's here. Yeah. Well, I mean, Doug's in the chat too, so he's got just as many feelings and insights on moderating as I do. So if you have a question, you know, you've got two of us who I don't know what Doug's doing right now. He might not be able to answer, but yeah, we're just chatting about moderating. How do you go about picking your moderators? We did cover this a little bit earlier, but I'll definitely go over it again. Picking your moderator, you need to pick someone who is active in your community, somebody whose voice you've heard before, like, you know, in the chat. You know how they speak to other members of your community. They have to be knowledgeable in what you're talking about, or actually just know where to, you know, how to help people be patient for you to answer. It is definitely it's not a like, hey, who wants to be a mod, and just wait to see who in the chat puts their hands up and just choose anyone at random. You need to trust this person. There has to be a level of trust, not just that they trust you, but you trust them, because once you make someone a moderator, even a standard moderator, they have the ability to change the tone in your live chat. So and not just your live chat, a standard moderator on YouTube can go in and remove comments from VODs and shorts. So they can change the tone across your entire channel. Now on VODs and shorts, they can't block or time out or anything like that, but they can remove the comment entirely. So it could change a conversation. So it has to be somebody that you trust. So I as I was saying just before, I actually know most of my moderators in person. And if I don't know them in person, I've chatted with them online a lot, whether it's in their live streams, my live streams, Facebook groups, Discord servers, whatever. We've had conversations somewhere. I can trust that they will have the best interest of my community at heart. They need to be part of the community already. They can't just come in waving their little "I'm a good moderator" banner around. They need to be an existing part of your community. And if you're a new channel and you don't have a community yet, you need to find someone that you trust from another community. Someone that who has your back and who knows that, you know, that you just need some support. And even if it's just a little bit of moral support when you're getting started. Let me have a look here. Is there not a way to get notifications for Buy Me a Coffee in StreamYard? I don't know of a way. I'm just checking. Just checking some stuff here. I don't know of a way directly integrated with StreamYard. It would be awesome. I know you can link it up with something else and then bring that into StreamYard. Doug is probably a better person for this because I know he has it integrated on Ecamm, but I don't know if he's got it integrated on StreamYard. But I should probably look into that, shouldn't I? I'll add it to my list. Because that would be awesome, wouldn't it? It really would. Have you regretted ever picking a moderator? Yes, I have. I have had a moderator who just threw their weight around a little in a chat. They didn't delete people that or anything like that. It was just they were just a little heavy-handed with my community. And when I DM'd and spoke to them about it, they were kind of like, fine, demod me. And so I was just like, okay, like, sure, if you can't take any feedback when you're dealing with my community, I will demod you. Yeah, so I have, but only once. And it is because I'm a bit more cautious about who I actually choose to be moderators. When you choose a moderator, you really do have to kind of really think about it as like hiring staff. Not to the same degree, obviously, because you're probably not paying them. So you can't get grumpy if they're not there. If you're not paying them, you can't be grumpy if they don't turn up. But if they're aggressive or rude to people in your community, you absolutely should be able to talk to them about that. And if they don't take that input and respect the fact that it's your stream, you have to be willing to demod them. So, yeah. Mods represent you and your company. It's like an employee. Yeah, absolutely. They can make or break your stream. Absolutely. I 100% agree with this comment. For sure. Also, many mods feel like you're not part of the community. Also, too many mods feel like you're not part of the community. Least you can't have too many. I'm not sure what that means. I've only had 1.5 coffees, so would you mind rewording that one for me just so I can try again? I really do want to understand it. Do you mean like as in some chats, like every single person is modded, and then when somebody comes in and they're not modded, they don't feel like they're part of the community because they don't have a wrench? I'm in a chat regularly that actually has quite a lot of moderators who chat. And it's one of those things like, oh, I did get that right. Yes. Yeah. And this is a catch. This is a catch 22 because like on this channel, I do have 5 moderators. I think it's 5 or 6 moderators. And in a slow moving chat like ours, if all of them were here chatting, it would look very much like an us and them kind of thing. It really would. But I would never unmod any of those guys because like today, we did the first half of the stream with no mods because not everybody can turn up. So having extra mods can totally be helpful, but I totally understand how it could look on a day when there's too many mods. Yeah. They can totally take over the chat. Yeah, for sure. I've been in a live streaming situation once where the mods had real power trips and got after everyone for just about everything. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. And this is the thing, like, yes, you've given your moderators that they have been leveled up. They are chosen to have their wrench. They do get their crown of banhammers. You know, they are sort of just, they have been chosen. You have decided to give them a leg up on the standard viewer. There's no denying that. They have a blue name and a wrench. There's no way to hide that they're a moderator. But they have to understand that with that privilege and power, they have to do a job in a way that you want them to do it. And if they're not willing to tone down how they speak to your community, then demod them. They don't deserve it. If they let the power go to their head, they don't deserve to be mods. You know, it's what's the word I'm trying to think of? When you there's a saying, with great power comes great, and I can't think of that word. And yeah, it's just one of those things you have to. Someone in the chat, please help me. There's a word and my brain won't give it to me, and I'm stalling because my brain won't give me the word. Responsibility. That's it. Thank you. Game Widows and Amazing Yacht Destinations. It is. It's responsibility. With great power comes responsibility. If you're a moderator, with great power comes power bills. Oh my gosh, isn't that the truth? If you're a moderator on somebody's channel, you do have the responsibility to speak to the people, to the community in, you know, just how they go. Like, it's just, yeah. Please delete my last comment. You can delete your own last comment, right? I don't know what comment you want deleted, so you can just go in and retract it. Yeah, it's definitely, I've got hair on my face, it's touching me, it makes me think there's a spider on me. But yeah, you have to, if your moderators are power tripping, you need to have a talk to them. They really, you know, if you need to talk to them, you need to be willing to speak to them. If you're not willing to sit down and talk to them and explain that they're doing things not how you want them done, then you need to remove them as a moderator. If they're not somebody that you feel like you can talk to and gently correct, then, you know, and also you need to be careful how you speak to people as well. So, you know, it's a game of professionalism. It's a game of professionalism with how you speak to people, how they speak to you, how they speak to your community. Yeah. Let me have a look here. Marianne, welcome to the chat. I haven't put any moderators yet for my live streams. Okay. Marianne, about how many people are you getting as viewers on a regular live stream at the moment? 100%, it has to be a level of respect, for sure. Absolutely. If your moderators don't respect you, they certainly don't respect your community. It's that simple. I very much appreciate your statement, Michael. I try very hard to be a good moderator. I try very hard to moderate each stream that I moderate how the individual creator wants me to moderate. And different people and different streamers have different expectations. And jumping between those and understanding what is and isn't accepted in the different streams, not just putting my personal views on top of things all the time. Like some streams, that's fine. But others, I really have to, you know, hat on for StreamYard, hat on for Nick, hat on for Justin Brown, hat on for Doug. You know, like all of these people, you have to think about them as individual entities with their own sets of rules. Like, it sounds so silly. I think of them as different worlds. And on this world, this is the rule of the land. So follow these rules. And on this world over here, and sometimes I forget that I've jumped worlds. So I really have to keep on top of that. On average, 14 to 8 only, and only once had someone a bit iffy with their comment, and I just put them in timeout. Yeah, and this is the thing. As a streamer yourself, you can totally be watching the chat. Now we've got, what have we got in here? Right now we have 13, and I have 5 mods. So I think there's 2 mods in today. I personally think you should at least have 1 mod on your channel. If something happens in your comment area and you can't get to and you can't get into YouTube for whatever reason, and you've got a mod, and you can message them and go, oh my God, can you pretty please go to my channel and remove this comment? I cannot get to it right now, and it is bad. That to me is like a total backup plan. And I'm all about the backup plans. I have backup plans on backup plans, except for apparently a be right back screen, which I still haven't set up on this channel. So, yeah. Let me just have a drink of water here. Let's have a look. I moderate for several channels. 2 of them are over 100K. It's not easy when people get out of hand, and I try my best. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I've noticed that some of the bigger channels don't always have the biggest streams. So I moderate for one channel that has got 1.5 million subscribers, but usually only gets around sort of 50 to 100 in a live stream. And that's totally doable for 1 or 2 mods. I've got another channel that's got about 400,000-ish, and they only get about 50 or 60 in their live streams. And then I've got another channel that's, you know, like 15K, and they get 300. So it depends on the channel. It's you know, it really depends on the channel. Great idea. We'll have to ask some lovely community members and friends. Yeah, when you think of it as kind of like a backup system, but make sure it is someone you trust, for sure. Someone who is part of your community, or someone that you know in real life that you can trust to do this thing. Can moderators do moderation or comments on your normal videos? Yes, they can. They only have one option, which is remove the comment, which is a pretty nuclear option. And they can moderate comments on your VOD and your shorts. They can remove comments from both. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And Doug's channel is also awesome. Hey Doc, how you going? Great to see you. But yeah, so it's definitely a case of your moderator has to be someone you trust. Okay, whether it's someone you know in real life and can trust. You also have to be willing to unmod somebody. If people change, people's lives change, shit happens. You have to be willing to unmod them. They can't stay mod forever if they are becoming detrimental to your community. And you know, you can tell them you're unmodding them, or you can leave it as a nice surprise when they come in. And it's definitely one of these things where you just have to be prepared to make these decisions. It's part of becoming a YouTube creator or a business person. Whatever it is that you're doing in your life, there comes a time where you have to make or break. So are they doing what they're supposed to be doing as a moderator? Is their behavior acceptable as a community member at all? Like that's another thing to look at. Yeah, we've definitely chatted on Clubhouse before, for sure. I kind of miss the old days of Clubhouse. I haven't been on Clubhouse in ages now. I actually bought an iPad just so I could go on Clubhouse. It was my first Apple thing that I'd bought for myself, just so I could be on Clubhouse. That was it. And now Clubhouse is still around, but it's totally different now. It's totally different. The whole atmosphere is different. I'm not even sure. Are there even live rooms anymore? I don't even know. I have no idea. I haven't been on it in 6 months easily. Yeah, so there's a lot. Yeah, Clubhouse is still a thing. There's a lot that your moderator can do. So and I'm going to say it again. You have to trust your moderator. If you don't know them well enough to trust them, then don't make them a moderator. So, you know, that's just one of those things. If you don't trust them enough, then they're not moderator material yet. You know, down the track, for sure. Keep an eye on them. Sort of, you know, be thinking about it. But definitely going, oh, Tech for Your Needs still does a room on Clubhouse. There you go. I didn't even know. I'm sorry. I'll have to go and check it. It's amazing how many things were around during quarantine that seemed cool at the time, and then when the world opened back up, it wasn't as useful. With Clubhouse, it's not so much that it wasn't as useful, it's they changed what could be done and how it was done. And it just made it not as enticing to be there, I would say. That's how I feel about it anyway. They changed up, like, I used to get notified when my friends were in rooms and things like that. Now I don't get any of that. So yeah, it just changed. Clubhouse sounds like an old IRC chat. Never used it, showing my age. It kind of was a bit like an IRC chat. But yes, I was on Clubhouse a lot. There was a lot, like to the point where my husband had words with me about how often I was not available for conversations amongst the family because I was on Clubhouse. I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, because I love talking about YouTube. You know, I'm super passionate about it, and there were people I could talk to about it. So, all right. Well, I'm just having a little look through here. We're going to call last call. So let me just see if I can find a thing for last call. There we go. Pop in your questions and we will get ready to head. I did have Clubhouse had a great community of YouTubers. Absolutely. It was wonderful. It was amazing. And I got to talk to a lot of really cool people and got to listen to a lot of really cool people talk as well. I mean, we can do that on YouTube to a degree. Like, I kind of feel like we're doing it a little bit right now, but it's not the same because it's not a two-way conversation. I definitely feel like I'm the only one who gets to talk as such. I do try to read your comments, so you feel included in the conversation, but it's not quite the same being able to hear somebody else talk. So, yeah. But I still like it. I love live streaming. Live streaming is my passion. Community building, online communities, moderation, helping communities grow in whatever way I can. I'm here for it. I'm just waiting to see if there's a time difference for... Now, I did see Doug message earlier about the integration of BMAC into StreamYard, and he's 100% right. At the moment, we can't have alpha overlays, so it would make it a bit trickier. Well, it makes it impossible, really. Yeah. Let's have a look. Thanks for taking the time to do the streams. Like I said in my DM, it's like talking to a friend. Although we're just listening and typing our comments. John, I loved that message very much. Very much. Thank you for sending that through. Are you going to make a video on the best way to do mods for showing the back end? Is it different from the creator side? It is a little. Yeah, I can make a video on that for sure. It's been on my list for a while. I feel a bit, I'm going to put it this way. I feel a bit naughty planning like moderator content because Doug's like the king of the moderators. And I'm like, is Doug going to make a video? Is he going to update his video? I don't know. But I've got one on my list. So I will sit down and I'll make a little video on it. And hopefully Doug doesn't hate me for it. So yeah, I can totally do that. And there are some differences. They're not huge differences, honestly. Doug's like, do it. Okay. All right. So yeah, all right, I'll get that done. But there are some little differences for sure. There's some extra options when you do things. But I can do that. But for the most part, it does look the same. I wouldn't know the answer to that question, John. And I'm actually not comfortable even asking. I don't want to know the answer. I really don't want to know the answer. Live stream consultants, great to see you here. Great to see you. Let's have a look here. I have a way to make you feel like part of the family. I am glad to hear that. That is my goal. That is my goal. I think that we should all be able to talk and converse. We're all creators here, and we all have our own issues and things that we need help with on YouTube, and having other creators talk about some of this stuff a bit openly, I find it to be so helpful for myself. So if I can in any way help, I'm up for that as well. So the first half of this stream, we really did dig into about how I look at what moderators can do and how they can help. When you say you'd like to hear my take on moderating, are you talking about like the different like technical things that moderators can do, or just my thought processes when I'm actually moderating? I'd love to know which sort of way you want to go with that, because part of it we've already done. So it's at the first half of this stream. So yeah, I've got the driest, sorest throat this morning. It's terrible. I hope it's not going to become something worse. Love hearing the perspective of creators. Oh, me too. Absolutely. Because every creator has a different experience. As creators, we all make decisions and take different paths. Like with YouTube, we've got so many choices and options. Even like not just niche level options, but even, do we go live stream only? Do we go VOD only? Do we go shorts only? Do we do a little mix of each? How do we feel about the different performing aspects of each of those options? Like, do you use your community post? I don't use mine anywhere near as much as I mean to. You know, like there's so many different paths that we can take as creators, and understanding the different benefits and limitations of each of those things, as a new channel growing, as a person who has like, this is one of my channels. I do have a larger channel, but it's also in, you know, a growth phase. Like all channels are constantly growing, but we've all started at zero. And I said that last week as well, and this is something to remember, is we all start at zero. All of us live streaming, if we've never had a channel before, the chances are your first live streams are going to be at zero. Whether you need a moderator or not, that's up to you. What do you need? What do you want the moderator for? I think if you're starting and you have no one else in the stream, having a moderator, just one person who has agreed to be there beforehand, like especially if you're streaming for the first time and you'd be like, hey, would you be my moderator? I want to stream on this day. Can you be there to keep me company? And explain that there's a good chance there's not really going to be any work there for them to do, but you'd just love to know there's someone on the other end for you to talk to. So, you know, there's lots of different ways we can do all these things. None of them are technically right or wrong. I mean, there are some wrong ways to do things. YouTube's guidelines, keep those in mind. But other than that, the paths that we choose to take as creators can speed or slow our growth. And if it slows your growth, is it actually a bad thing? It may not be. For me over on Fiberific, I made a decision about, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that I stopped making VOD. I had time constraints and I had to make a decision on what was the best use of my time. So I kept live streaming but stopped creating videos. It slowed the growth of my channel by 2/3 easily. Absolutely. But it was a decision I made. I knew going in what the repercussions of that decision was, and I had other focuses. I had a business I had to focus on, and I had time constraint issues. So I made that decision. If I could go back and change my mind, I probably would. I would probably have, rather than just do my regular weekly live stream, I probably would have done 2 live streams a month and maybe 1 piece of VOD a month, just to keep the balance there a little bit. But, you know, I have more time again now, so I am turning that decision around a little bit, and I am now creating VOD content as well as live streaming content. I love live streaming. I won't stop live streaming unless somebody makes me stop. Please don't make me stop. Because I love the conversations. I really do. I love that idea to have at least someone else on the other side. Yeah. For me, and this may not be the same for you, okay? But for me, knowing someone is there helps me to focus. And yeah, you may not need it. You just may not. But I personally prefer knowing that there's someone there, because there may be no one else in the chat, but then you may also get a troll. And if you don't have anyone in there who's got your back and you've got to deal with the troll by yourself, and it could be bad, and will it put you off live streaming? I don't know. I don't want anything to put you off live streaming. I think live streaming is awesome. It's a really amazing way to connect and create and build community. So on that note, I'm going to call it a day. We will be having the StreamYard live stream very soon. I'm just checking here. Balance is important. Streaming builds community. Absolutely. Absolutely. We would love to have you do more live streaming here. I'm going to be doing this live stream every week for the foreseeable future at this time zone. So we will see how it goes. Excuse me. You absolutely can make VOD from your live streams. I this week have just, I'm not sure if you've noticed it, but I popped up a short using a section of last week's live stream. So yeah, you can totally repurpose the content in various different ways as well. It's you've got choices. You've got choices. So have an awesome week or night or whatever you want to have. Week. I'm going to go with week. Have an awesome week, everybody. And I'll catch you here next week. Be good now. Bye.